Alrighty, welcome back, guys. I haven't done a solo episode in a while, but with 2021 only a few days away, I thought I'd jump on, kind of do a bit of a recap of this year and talk about my goals for next year. So let's get it started. Holy shit, it's been a massive year for myself. I know it's been a tough year for a lot of people, losing jobs, their health, and all that stuff. But yes, I'm going to be one of those guys and say this year has been one of the best years of my life. Like the amount of growth that I've gone through this year, whether that be through the podcast or, starting Better Life and physical stuff, as in running my first marathon. It's been a crazy year and I don't regret any of it. It's been an awesome year and it's kind of laid the platform for next year. So I'm so excited. But it's kind of, let's recap this year. I'll start off with the podcast now. At the beginning of the year, I didn't really have an idea of kind of where or the direction I wanted to take the podcast. I was like, oh yeah, I'll interview some people. Then COVID hit and I had a lot more time to focus on it. So I was like, you know what, all right, let's try get 50 guests. Now, I got that comfortably and I interviewed some awesome people. Like having like my idol, I had Isaac John on my podcast. Now, if you've listened to that podcast, you would you would have seen how bloody nervous I was. But from doing that podcast, my confidence shot through the roof because I was like, you know what, I can match it with these kind of guys that are doing awesome things in the world. Like I can talk to them, I can match it with them. And ever since then, like, yeah, my confidence has shot through the roof. And you'll notice throughout every episode from that, it's just been getting better and better and better. And I've loved the journey. I've loved the people I've spoken to and the messages that I've been able to share. And now the core, like the reason for the podcast is I want a platform where people can feel comfortable to come on and share their stories. Like I got some awesome guests lined up for the beginning of next year and they have some very serious, I guess, topics that most people kind of brush under the rug, but they're very common topics and it happens to a lot of people. And I want them to feel comfortable coming on sharing that story because not only does it help them, getting it off their chest and being able to talk about it, but it helps the people that are actually listening that are going through the same scenarios and they're like, all right, wow, this person's going through the same thing I have. I'm inspired to make some change or I'm going to reach out to that person and ask them some questions and get some help. So it's not only about me anymore and about gaining confidence. It's about, yes, everyone has a story, but I want this podcast to be the platform where people can just come on, feel comfortable, share their stories, and share an awesome, inspiring message to all the listeners. Now, even the small stuff like the equipment upgrades, like the amount of upgrades I've done for my little studio, as you see now. At the beginning of the year, I didn't have that. I just had a desk with my camera on a tripod and a little USB microphone. Now I've got the big Rode podcaster, 2 mics set up, little chair, little studio going here with the sign. It's grown a lot, and it's awesome to look back and see how far I've grown this podcast in only a matter of 12 months. Like, it's bloody crazy. 50 guests. I've had some of my idols on. I've spoken to some awesome people all around the world. I've grown in confidence myself. Now I have my own little studio set up. Like, it's been an awesome year, and I just can't wait for next year and where the podcast is going to go. But I'll touch on that later and some of my goals that I have for it. Now, this year as well, in regards to business, like Better Life started up. Now that came about probably halfway through the year, I think. Yeah, Jake came to me about the idea of, oh, Better Life, let's start a clothing brand. I was like, all right, let's take this on board. We brought it to life. We dropped our first little drop, which was hoodies and some shirts. It went really well actually, and the support that we've received throughout the whole journey has been awesome. Now it's been a massive learning experience. Like, me and Jake don't know shit about the clothing industry as itself. Like, before starting this business, I wasn't really into clothes. I just wore my footy stuff around, my training stuff. Now I'm starting to learn about, you know, different colorways, materials and stuff, like all the nitty gritty stuff that I'm starting to learn, and next year's going to be a really massive learning curve for me as well. So yeah, it's been an awesome journey. A lot of stuff learnt, small things like, social media and growing our branding, getting the name out there. It's awesome journey. Can't wait to see what next year brings for that. And to think, if COVID didn't happen, would Better Life be around? Who knows? Who knows? Like, COVID has brought up so many different avenues into my life. It's amazing. Like, the next thing, like running a marathon. Now, I've never been into endurance. Endurance was actually, like, I lacked that so much and I hated it, especially for footy when we had to do the 1.2 kilometer time trial. Like, I sucked at it. I hated it. Fitness was my enemy. Now, with COVID hitting, footy got cancelled, and and the gyms were closed, so I couldn't even go to the gym. I started to get into running. Now, I was running 1 or 2 Ks, and then my mate Kyle reached out to me. I went to school with him, but we never really spoke. And we reached out. We're now really good friends. I went into the river run with him a few times. Now, I was building that up. So I think the max I did with him was 10 kilometers. Then I met Corey, which was through the podcast. Me and Kyle started training with him, getting together. He somehow conned me into doing a marathon at 9 o'clock at night, and I did it. So I went from 10 Ks to 42 Ks in a matter of a month or two without proper training. That was crazy. It was absolutely crazy experience. It's kind of hard to explain if you haven't been for it yourself, but they call it runner's high, where my body was sore. It hurt to run, but my mind was so clear. It was like I was hallucinating. It was crazy, and ever since then, like, it just builds mental resilience and toughness, and yeah, it's a great massive achievement for myself, and it's still kind of surreal that I did that. But next year, I'm actually signing up for a 50K race, which is going to be even tougher because it's going to be in mountains and that, whereas my marathon was just around a lagoon, so it was all flat. But yeah, I grew in a lot of confidence from doing that as well, knowing that I could push my body and my mind to those limits. It was a crazy experience, and I couldn't thank Corey enough for actually pushing me through that night. It was a long night, 5 hours and 24 minutes, but well worth it. And yeah, that was an amazing night. Now, as I mentioned, Kyle and Corey. Now, those guys came into my life this year, and I now call them brothers. We have a really strong relationship, and we all push each other to be better. We all support each other, and we're all very well driven in all our own areas. And I can't push it enough how important it is to have a circle of friends that support you that much and push you to be better. Like, all three of us have grown so much this year. And like without Corey, without Kyle, I wouldn't have got into running. I wouldn't have run my marathon. Now they've helped me with podcasts. They both came on my podcast, and then from them, I've had other people reach out to me that know them, want to come on the podcast. So they've helped me grow the podcast with Betar Life. They push it, they promote it. We all promote each other. Like I promote Corey's brand, CosFit. His shorts are awesome. If you want a pair of shorts, I think he may have some in stock, or he has some new ones. Get onto them; they're really good as well. But yeah, it's just a good bunch of blokes. My brothers really, and who knows if they would have come into my life this year as well. So it's been an awesome year. I've invested in myself, highly invested in myself. Now, I used to be a Jew ass with my money, not spend my money on really anything anyway, just straight in the savings. This year, online courses, books, seminars, equipment upgrade. I didn't keep count of how much, but I would say around 10K I've spent on myself this year. And every cent was worth it. Like the online courses, what I've learned from it, like I did Isaac John's online course and learning about business, which I've put into Betar Life and the podcast and books. I'm not a big reader, but I went off track there for a bit where I wasn't reading. I've just gotten back on track. I've actually started audiobooks, so that's another investment. I've invested into audiobooks. The beginning of the year, I went to a few seminars, but yeah, equipment upgrades as well. That was big. That was a lot of money. Like all the microphones and the Rode Procaster for my microphones, cameras. Just recently bought a drone, which I did crash, but I got it replaced, so it's all good. But just all these upgrades to make better content, better quality content for you guys, and just keep spreading the message. And me personally growing as well as a person. So personal development has been really big for myself this year. I've grown in confidence. I've discovered new things about myself. Like I have always liked doing little adventures in that, but because of my anxiety, I never would go do them by myself. Now this year, because I've grown in confidence I've grown in confidence that now I'm going on adventures by myself, which you would see on my socials, that I'm going out and doing all these things by myself now, which has been awesome, and I've loved every second of it. So next year's going to be even bigger. So I guess that kind of wraps up this year. It's kind of hard to remember all the things that I've done and achieved this year, but I guess I would say they would be the main ones, like the podcast, growing that, the business, Betar Life, and just personal development. So all in all, it's been an awesome year this year, and I've grown so much as a person, physically, mentally, spiritually. It's been an awesome year, and next year's going to be a bigger year, which I've actually done all my goal setting. It's all set, and dude, when I look at my goals, I'm honestly that excited for next year, especially this time next year when I'm looking back and see how far I've grown again. Like it's surreal now looking back at what I've achieved this year. Imagine next year or the year after. So I can't wait. Now for 2021, the podcast goals are I want to have another 50 guests on, which I think I'm actually going to smash that because I already got like 6 guests lined up for January. So yeah, I think I'm going to smash that. I want to hit 25K downloads. I'm at about 6 or 7 at the moment. But yeah, I want to hit 25K downloads. I want to grow the social platforms, so Instagram, to 10K followers. I would like to get 1 or 2 more genuine sponsors on board that I want to work with. So 50 guests, and then I want to do a lot of solo episodes this year. I feel like that's where I've lacked. I've got a lot of topics that I've written down that I'm going to talk about, and any other topics that come up along the way. So that's another one of my goals of a minimum 25, or I'd probably smash that as well. 25 to 50 solo episodes packed in with my guest episodes as well. And I'd really like to start making some income. Now, whether that will probably come through sponsorship, but I would love to start making some income, even if it is a few $100s. Just knowing that I can reach and impact people and start to turn it into income, basically. So yeah, want to start making income now for Better Life. I want to continue to grow and learn, obviously. Now, we had some goals. We want to do 3 drops this year. Probably going to be autumn, winter, and summer. And then we're going to drop some accessories in that too. We're already planning autumn. Now, we're going to plan it differently this year. Now, instead of dropping all our stuff at once, we're going to be doing 6 colorways. Yeah, 6 colorways dropped over. So we'll drop 2 colorways at a time. So we're going to do 6 colorways for our autumn and drop them over like every fortnight or something. So autumn colors, that's going to be very exciting, something new. And that means we're putting out consistent content and dropping stuff consistently as well, instead of dropping something all at once and then it's going to be another few months until we drop something again. So we thought that was interesting. We're going to try it out and see how that goes. We also want to raise about 1 to 2K for charities. That all depends on the amount of money that or the amount of product that we sell. So we want to get behind some charities. That we're already behind Child Safe. We're looking for another maybe 1 or 2 charities that we want to get behind and really raise some money for it. Towards the end of the next year as well, we would love to expand overseas, because then we can really start growing, because all our products could then be custom made. So custom materials, custom colors, everything custom. So that's the goal towards the end of next year, is to be fully, well, not fully, but start to expand overseas and start bringing in some custom stuff into our collections. But yeah, Better Life next year, it's going to be a great year. Awesome learning experience next year, and I can't wait for that. Now, travel. It's going to be hard to travel overseas, but I want to travel my own country as long as the borders are open. But for travel, I want to go to 12 destinations or regions for a minimum of 2 days. For March, I'm going to be going to Coffs Harbour because that's the State Cup. I'm going to be staying there for about a week, and I'm going to explore all the areas there. There's awesome national parks, waterfalls, and we may even head up to Queensland for a few days if the borders are open. I want to do a minimum of 25 day trips, whether that be hikes, lookouts, waterfalls. I want to be out in nature as much as possible and creating awesome content. Now, another travel thing that I've come about is hiring a camper van or a van for a weekend or a week and just driving maybe up and down the coast or to a certain location. I've been watching a lot of vlogs on that, and it's been very interesting and something I want to do. And Katrina said she's open to it, so we're going to do it. It's going to be a great experience and going to create some awesome content. Now, if the world does open up, which I find it hard to believe, but even if we open up to New Zealand, I want to go do one overseas trip. New Zealand's on my bucket list anyway as number 1, so I want to do New Zealand. If not, I want to do all the states in Australia, even Tasmania. So next year is going to be a massive year for travel, and that's something that really, really excites me, because probably for the last year or 2, I've been saying, I want to travel, but I've been too scared to travel. Now I'm like, fuck it, you know what? I want to travel. I'm ready to travel. let's go do this, let's go explore, let's make some bloody awesome content. So I'm keen, I'm excited. Health and fitness next year as well. Mentioned before, signing up for a 50k race, so that'll be my first ultra marathon. I want to run 2 to 3 other races, whether they just be marathons. But yeah, I want to do 2 to 3 other races. I want to stick to training consistently, drinking enough water, eating enough, and gain some weight back. Now, with all the running, I actually dropped about 5 kilos. I would love to get back up to 80 kilos and be lean. That's one of my goals, because at the moment I'm not really liking being this light of weight because I've lost a lot of my strength, but we'll get there and see where next year takes me. Personal development, invest in myself. Next year is going to be even bigger. Now, I'm probably going to invest more than 10k, that's for sure, in myself, online courses, seminars, books again, just every day threading the needle. I've already got a list of some online courses I'm going to do. Whether seminars come back or not, I don't know, but investing in books, I'm going to really get back into reading again. And then also, investing in equipment upgrades and all that stuff, which does get very, very expensive, but hey, it's well worth it, and I just can't wait. Habits I want to adapt next year. Now, this is a new one I've kind of added. I want to start journaling. Every day, just journaling, writing down, because eventually one day I would like to maybe read it, look back and go through all these journals and possibly write a book about my life. That's something that really interests me, and writing a book that I can then pass down to my kids or grandkids, it's going to be awesome. Weekly planning and reviews. Now, this is something I kind of did but didn't do. This year I've set up so I use an app called Notion. So I've set up all my goals and all my planning and all that, so I can keep track of everything. So this year it's going to be really big on planning and reviewing and seeing where I went wrong, seeing where I went right, so I can always be on top of it and keep moving forward. Time management's a big one for me too. I like to set all these tasks up every day, and then kind of procrastinate on one task for a while instead of, or a notification goes up on my phone and I've got to check my phone. So turn the phone off and just focus on one goal at a time. And then once I'm done that, if anyone's out there, you may or may not go through this, but when say you finish all your tasks for the day, I then sit there and think of other shit that I can do, because I feel like if I'm not doing anything, well, then I'm not getting better. I need to learn that once my tasks are done, that's fine. It's all good. I can go relax. I can go watch Netflix. Instead of sitting there and being, oh, fuck, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. Just relax. It's all right to, if you get all your goals done, well, why not? Go relax, man. So that's one thing I really need to work on next year. Also, I want to focus on different attributes every day that I want to get better at, such as, confidence, empathy, communication, transparency, just to name a few. Those are some attributes that I really want to focus on in getting better at. Now, this year, I've worked on, confidence and communication, but you even hear now, my communication is still not the best. I still kind of lose track or not really know what I'm talking about sometimes, which is fine. But yeah, it's something I really need to work on. And even and there's a difference now between communication. I can communicate very good with someone on a podcast, but I need to learn to communicate with, people in everyday life as well, in the workforce. like at my job, I know I lack communication there. So that's something I need to communicate or get better at communication. And I guess that comes with confidence as well. Like I still get anxiety about podcasting or going to certain places that I don't really know. So that all comes with time. I'll get there. Next year's another chance to just keep growing and getting better. Now, monetary goals. As you can see, why I didn't put that first. Money, money's important, but it's not my number one. It helps. I respect and I love money and what it can do, but yeah, it doesn't bring happiness for me. I do set monetary goals because obviously you need money to fund what I'm doing and to get to where I want to get in life. So monetary goals for me is 50K savings. I got about 30 now or something. So I need another 20 to get 50K savings. I want to invest 5K into the stock market. Possibly get a rental property as well on top of that. So I'm not sure if I'll get the rental property, but it's on there. The main thing is just start investing into the stocks and have that savings there. Content is king. This year I've made a lot of content, but next year I want to 10x that shit and make so much more content, and I've planned it all out and I'm excited to start making it and start sharing all the content with you guys, whether that be podcast, travel, business, training, my running stuff. Like I'm just gonna put so much content out there that it's not funny. But it's all gonna be valid and it's all gonna document my journey. Now the reason I do content is, for one, obviously document my journey for my kids or grandkids, so they can go back and look at that and see where I've come from in life and what I've achieved, but also, inspiring and motivating other people that you can do whatever you want if you put in the hard work and you jump out of that comfort zone. So that's another reason why I create content. Relationships. Now that's always a tough one for me because I get caught, I guess you could say I'm a bit of a workaholic. I get caught up in what I'm doing that I push my relationships to the side. Oh, sorry. So I want to focus more on my relationship with Katrina. Minimum 12 dates, plus she's going to come and do all the travels and stuff like that too. I actually bought this book. It's called the Adventure Book, and you scratch off all these dates. And so I think it has 50 adventures in there. And you scratch it off like a scratchy, and it tells you what it is and the time frame and what to do. So I thought that was interesting. So we're going to start doing that. That's more content there because I'm going to be documenting and vlogging those, it's going to be awesome. That is mainly going to be for our future kids because I want to show them like what we're doing and how we've grown our relationship. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We've had a lot of downs, but also a lot of ups. I guess that's a relationship. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. Really excited to grow a stronger relationship and a connection. So excited for that. I want to build stronger friendships. For example, with Corey and Kyle, like next year's going to be a big year for all of us. Growing our own. Well, Corey has his own business and Kyle's leaving his job to get into PT. So it's a massive year for all of us. I can't wait to build stronger relationships and just keep growing all together. It's awesome. Also want to gain new relationships, whether that be through networking through the podcast or who knows, but new relationships are key and I can't wait. So I guess that kind of wraps up this year and going into next year. Wow, we've gone for about 30 minutes now. Shit. All right, I probably rambled on a bit too much there. All good. But yeah, that wraps it up. This year's been an awesome year. Can't wait for next year. And just stay tuned for next year and all the content that I'm going to be bringing you guys and the growth that I'm going to go through next year. It's going to be a massive year and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, please remember to, like, share, and subscribe, share on your socials. Let's get the name out there and make sure next year's a big year for all of us. Thanks, guys.